listen, I'm a part of Gen Z, which in the words of my dad translates to me being a lazy, antisocial university student who spends most of his time either sleeping or in front of a screen. And what do I do in front of a screen, you might ask? Well, if it's off, I spend all the time looking at the reflection of this perfect human being that I am, and if it's on, I'm either watching movies or playing video games, two of my favorite things of all time. However, what happens when you combine two of the greatest things humanity has ever invented into one? Well, that's how you get the greatest masterpieces of all time. Or at least, that's what you would hope, because the reality is that we get the pixelated equivalent of pure 100% fermented bad poo-poo. Am I supposed to believe these games were made out of passion and are just some way to scam me out of the few monies my granny gave me as a child? I mean, if even I as a 10-year-old could figure out that your game is hot rubbish, then your game is really hot rubbish. What's even worse is that there's one of these games that I actually enjoyed as a child, which could definitely be conclusive proof that I have more subscribers now than brain cells then. Looking back on it, I reckon I would rather go play with a neighbor's offspring who like eating mud and beheading lizards while wearing a cowboy hat. But I'd still rather my 10-year-old self would play with him instead of spending time or money in one of these pixelated dumpster fires. Remember the good old days when you would get excited about a new upcoming superhero movie and you would jump up and down and wait patiently only to be met with disappointment? No, I don't mean post-Endgame MCU. I'm talking about literally every superhero movie that came before Iron Man. You know, the good old days when we had fight scenes with Evanescence in the background. Mate, even as a kid, I remember seeing the Catwoman from the Batman shows or comics, and then having to watch this toxic waste of a movie that had absolutely nothing to do with the DC character other than the fact that they have the same name, and it made me wish I had a childhood like Daredevil, or in other words, I would rather be blinded by actual toxic waste. I would rather go camping in Chernobyl. I would rather go snorkeling in a septic tank, because even then, I would have to deal with less than this movie was. And you know the movie was bad. We're not even seeing 80% of Halle Berry's body made the nerds and Metacritics give it a high rating. Even if I drank paint, the result my intestines would produce would still be 10 times better than the game they made about this movie. This movie didn't ruin anything for me. I'm not strong enough to play it, but just watch some gameplay of it, okay? Just watch some gameplay. I challenge you to watch a gameplay of this game for more than 10 minutes. You'll feel more stressed than if you were watching your sports team lose for the 28th time in a row. And you can just feel the frustration with the controls just by watching the screen. And for a game that came out in 2004, this is what it looks like. There really was no love put into this, was it? And to be perfectly honest, it's not like the graphics were not going to solve anything. At the very least, they make it look like that Mortal Kombat we got for Nintendo Switch, you know what I mean? Being the quote-unquote savior of the MCU does not necessarily mean that anything Iron Man related was going to be a success, because the fact he was dressed in metal certainly didn't mean he had the golden touch, or any artistic touch for that matter. Also, you can see when you look at this atrocity, monstrosity, the generosity that we got as a game, and I am talking specifically about the PC version. I've seen Flash games with better graphics. The nostalgia effect is so real that I remember this game as having like really nice, I'm not joking, really nice graphics. And a good story and everything, and good controls and whatever. And as I was researching for this video, I came across a gameplay, and I have never in my entire life felt more cheating. And for those of you saying it doesn't look that bad, have you played it? Granted, this is honestly one of the better ones on the list, but by 2008, which is when this game and movie came out, we had a way better everything. I could go play Fireboy and Watergirl, or whatever his name is, and have a way more immersive experience. This game is basically the equivalent of the Mark I. I mean, it technically works without falling apart completely like the garbage it is, but it's hard to look at, difficult to control, and overall the kind of thing you would only take if the world's ending and there is no more options available, like my crush said to me. You can feel that all the budget went into the movie and that they had to rush out the game like what you and You Forgot the Homeworks do today. And again, it's not the absolute worst you'll see, but it's the kind of game that might you wonder if Thanos was right. Because just like me, you could have been a DC fan instead. Oh wait. Let me take all of you to a beautiful place called Flashback Land. In the good old days when my mama sang me to sleep and I was not as stressed out. I was a really devoted DC fan. Why? Because of Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, obviously. Even to this day, those shows hold up surprisingly well. What doesn't hold up, on the other hand, and not even during its time was able to surprise wide-eyed 10-year-olds like me, was the Superman game. We have all heard, all watched, or played this insult to the human race, but trust me, there's absolutely nothing worse than going to play it with no context in the pre-YouTube era and finding out that the game you've been wishing to play looks like this. I don't know or remember having seen anything other than the first part of the game where you try to collect more rings than Jennifer Lopez, with controls that seem to have been designed by one of those mythological deities with 10 hands. Do you have any idea how insanely difficult it was to make it through those dumb rings? It's really funny to me how even when you try, you really can't find many gameplays of this game because all those poor souls rage quit life and now live in caves like Gollum. Dude, this game stinks. Really badly. And I know Superman likes killing 10-year-olds, but never would I thought he would choose boredom as a method. And now we have Street Fighter, the movie, the game. So this is a game about a movie about a game. Just processing that gave me whiplash, and we all know how bad that movie was. The cash grabs just keep coming, don't they? Because why on earth would you need a game about a worse version of your original product? That's basically like if Mario Bros had a terrible movie and then made a similar terrible... Wait, what? They did? They did. I mean, of course they did. I knew Nintendo was a corporate equivalent of the Three Kids in a Trench Coat, but wow, really? Anyway, the game is such an obvious attempt to make some quick money. It's so obvious, so blatant. The characters look like the budget only covered 2 pictures of the actors in front of a blue screen. The speed of the game is about 30 seconds per frame. So it's like plugging your PlayStation controllers to a PowerPoint presentation, and it takes forever to load. Why? Why does it take so long to load? And the animations sometimes look like they hired a filler episode team from Naruto Shippuden. I mean, but my point is that there was absolutely no reason to make this game. They had the originals, they had their box office flop, they had the fame. Why, oh why would they do this? I feel bad for the people of the 90s who had the love for this franchise and not only went to watch that movie, but also bought this game. You would have made a better use of your money buying a pet rock. The Incredible Hulk. Another Marvel cash grab? Impossible. Dr. Sherlock Strange checked out 16 million possible realities, and in none of them he found a person who actually liked this game. This abomination should be deleted from everyone's memory because of how terrible it is. It released in 2008, and I know I said this before, but mate, I mean it. This looks like Minecraft Pocket Edition if you lower the render distance and add some cardboard boxes that could pass for build. This is what the Xbox 360 version looks like. You'd expect this from the Wii with those Intel Celeron graphics they had, but Xbox 360, and it looks like this. No textures, no graphics, no nothing. The PC version of this game is such an obvious cash grab that I'm half expecting an insert coin pop up every 2 missions. This game was so bad that even the people who acted in the movie sound depressed recording the lines of their characters. You're supposed to be controlling the Hulk, but this version just doesn't feel powerful. It just looks like someone recreated Scott Steiner with Play-Doh. I mean, no wonder Thanos basically had him on a leash, because at this point the only thing Hulk is smashing is my hopes for a decent game. Dragon Ball Evolution. How could I forget the movie that is to Dragon Ball fans what this movie is to the fans of the Elemental Inktop Baldi? I mean, I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but the cover for this movie makes it look like it was made by high schoolers on lunch break, and if that didn't give you enough of a hint about what you were going to see, get ready to have Billy Joe from Green Day as Goku, a villain that looks like Martian Manhunter from that Supergirl show with a negative budget for CGI, and a plot that could have been written better by a 15-year-old on AO3. Mate, this movie's bad, and I'm talking about bad to the point where even as kids, my friends and I hated it. And I mean, it's not like they had a bad budget or anything. Maybe a budget of 30 million is nothing now, but this was in 2009, and this is the best I could do? Did I watch this movie illegally, and I still feel like someone owes me money? I am not surprised they made a game to try and recover from the financial loss. Personally, I wouldn't touch that game with a stick, not even with a laser tied to a stick. To be completely honest, it doesn't even look that bad. But if you want to play something, just go and play the Shin Budokai games. Way better source material, and don't look like a Tekken ripoff. E.T. the Extraterrestrial. you know we couldn't have closed in the list with anything else other than this, because when your game is widely considered not only to be the worst ever, but also the main reason why video games almost disappeared forever, you know you did something wrong. You know, you all know the movie about the alien that looks like horse gonads in the middle of the winter, but the game somehow looks even worse than the actual alien. And don't get me wrong, that movie's a classic, but this game is a product of conversations between very evil people. This is Atari and whatnot, but come on, you can't get away with this. What on earth is this? That looks like a demon from one of those Russian children's books with lullabies. What is even the point of this game? This looks like what some computer science student would do in a night as a rush project. And if you see what the quality of Atari was and the games they were capable of making, they really don't look very different from AT. But this one has no charm to it, mate. I only wish I could have been one of the people dumping that rubbish into the landfill in New Mexico, so no one will ever see it again. Just what on earth is wrong with you people? Anyways, this game's brought back a lot of bad memories, so yeah, rant over. Hopefully it managed to entertain you, and if that was the case, please give me a like and subscribe to help me fulfill my dream of becoming rich and famous. Let me know in the comments if there's another one of these atrocities, monstrosities, degenerosities that I forgot to mention, so I can play it and suffer like the masochist I am. As always, be good to your families, drink some water, and touch your grass every now and then. That's it. God bless you.